Hey, we're live. We're live. Good evening, you lovely people, and welcome to the Claret and Booze Up. Thursday night this week as a one-off because Gary's off out on a jolly tomorrow night. I'll tell you what, Gary, you've got to sort your priorities out.
I know. You know, I tried. I told her it weren't on. It weren't on. We can't go out. I've got to do the booze up on a Friday night, but she said no.
Yeah, we're not impressed, are we, John? We're not impressed.
Go put your foot down, son.
I know. And of course, we've got John back, who's going to be doing his Michael Bolton impression for the next hour or two to make sure we all know that he's still got man flu.
He got man flu.
Great to have you back, mate. How you feeling?
Yeah, a lot better, mate. Obviously, there was concerns that it was the dreaded COVID, but tested negative throughout. Did a PCR, it's nothing. It's just there's a stinking cold going around as well, so it just affected my nose, mouth, and throat, like literally, you know. So I sound a little bit sexier on the phone, but there's a plus side to it.
Good stuff. Right, well, let's get onto the agenda then. First off, we're going to be reviewing our 2-0 home win over Norwich and heaping superlatives on. Well, a bit of a spoiler: the man of the match, Jarrod Bowen, but we'll officially crown the man on the player ratings later on. I said then we're going to move on to the transfer centre feature where Gary's going to be doing his very best Jim White impression and navigating us through a review of a multitude of different players. Let's be honest, we're probably not going to sign, but it's good to dream. Disclaimer: all the players that we do review are players that we are linked with in the media and by our in the nose as well. So they're all official. So it's not down to us, right? These are proper players, but they do look quite good. Yeah. And then we're looking ahead to our match at the weekend against Leeds, where victory will see us hit that magic 40-point mark, safe from relegation after 22 games. Same old West Ham taking a piss. So first of all, before we get into the Norwich game, and I hand over to Michael Bolton to drive us through, let's run through any sort of comments that we've got. Have we got any? It is a bit
there's a couple of people in the chat. Chris Moles is in at a hotel bar in Stoke, an empty one. Good evening, Chris. Sunny
Stoke.
Evening, lads. Welcome back, John. I knew Claire couldn't wait to see me back on here. I knew she'd be first in. Evening to Grant. Hello, Grant. DJ Rossi K. Good evening.
Hello, Ross.
We've got Stuart as well. Iron Stew on Twitter. Yeah, I've seen his name on Twitter.
Hello, Stuart.
Yeah. Stuart. Evening, James. And evening, Paul.
Oh, good stuff. All right. Well, do we? Should we get on with the Norwich review? Do you want to start off with that, John?
Yeah, of course, mate. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to go because I didn't think sitting in the cold would help my throat. So I gave my season ticket away to my nephew. Obviously, we know Gary went, but I managed to find a good stream and was pleasantly surprised, as I'm sure most of us were, crept up on us that old Aaron Cresswell was back in the starting lineup. And I was very pleased with that. We've been wondering when he's been coming back for a while. We've been kept in the dark somewhat about the extent of his injury, and some of us probably feared the worst, that it'd be longer, maybe towards the end of the season. And I think now that Aaron's back, I think we look a little bit more confident at the back already. You can see it. Why would you not with a quality player like that? Yeah. So we started with a team. Probably most of the after Cresswell on the left, Soufal on the right, Fabianski in goal, Dawson, Diop. Now, the midfield was slightly different because we believe that Soucek's ill with COVID, as per the rumours. So Fornals came back into the starting lineup. And we had Rice, Lanzini, Fornals in the centre three, Bowen on the right. Who was on the left? Vlasic started on the left. And obviously, one and only striker up front was Antonio. We needed a quick start. We needed a high-tempo start, and we definitely got that. We were straight at the blocks, and Bowen had a fantastic chance very early on, after a couple of minutes, I believe. Yeah. And to be fair, that was probably a taste of what was to come in terms of not taking our chances. He hit that chance straight at Krul in goal. And probably should have scored early on. But after that, we bossed the game somewhat against a very poor Norwich team. It must be said, but you can only beat what's in front of you. Yeah. But I thought we did well. We created a lot of chances. Bowen was a wasp, as you called him the other week, Nick. He was doing his usual wasp impression all over the place. in a good way all over the place, running them ragged. I think that Lanzini played him quite a different role than we're used to seeing him in recent weeks. He sat deeper with Declan Rice, I suppose, to some extent, and Fornals played what has become over the last few weeks the Lanzini role to a good standard, I must say. And then we had the Bowen goal that was disallowed, didn't we? So we had the first one that was disallowed.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
Well, I mean, for me, I still, even on the replays, I couldn't quite see why it was disallowed. I mean, they were saying that Vlasic was impeding play, weren't they? But he weren't blocking the line of sight of the keeper or anything like that when the ball was floated over. No. So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, what were your thoughts on that, Gal?
I think it's one of those games where we had really interfering officials last night. I mean, for instance, when we get to the second half, that the linesman just kept shoving his flag up at the drop of a hat. I mean, it was just like all the time. Like the goal that Bowen scored that he called offside to start with, and then VAR allowed it. Well, going back to that initial Bowen one, it's down the other end of the pitch to me, so didn't see it. We just expected it to get disallowed because that's default position now, isn't it? Yeah. But watching the replay on telly, I mean, I can't see anything wrong with it. I mean, Vlasic is nowhere near the keeper. I mean, he goes to get his head on it and misses it, but that is miles away from the keeper.
That is what I was going to say. If he wouldn't have moved, literally stood on the spot and didn't actually go as if he was going for the header, I think it would have been allowed, because they would say that movement could put the keeper off. Like, he'd look where the movement is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that was really should have been a goal. It should have stood. And then when you look earlier on as well at the way Vlasic was manhandled by Krul into the net.
How that wasn't looked at by VAR, I've got no idea.
What's the point in VAR if VAR ain't drawing the referee's attention to something that he hasn't seen?
I know.
Right? Because it was pretty bloody obvious, wasn't it? I mean, that is a penalty all day long, isn't it? I mean, it's a cheap penalty, but it's still a penalty. Keeper can't get away from stuff like that. And seeing as you're Dawson tonight, John, you're forgetting Dawson where he touched the ball over the top and went to volley it with his left foot into the corner and kicked it.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, the English Virgil van Dijk, as we know him, Craig Dawson. I mean, when that corner came over, and it was an absolutely little fantastic sort of chip back over his shoulder, over the defender, and he smacked it on his left foot, I believe.
Yeah.
And the defender blocked it. I mean, if that would have gone in, I would have been all over Facebook. I would have been everywhere. I would have been on the Dawson haters. It was a fantastic little bit of skill, and that would have covered his £2.5 million transfer fee alone. I think if it would
100%.
That would have gone in. But I mean, we had a few chances, didn't we? We had Bowen missed a few. Lanzini had a few
loads of good chances,
and we just weren't clinical. And it wasn't getting edgy. We were by far the better team, obviously. But and the thing is we sort of
you're always edgy at 1-0, weren't you? You're always edgy because there's only one goal in it.
Yeah, I mean, even before the goal, Nick, because obviously the goal came quite late in the half, didn't it?
Yeah,
I think, played a fantastic ball out to Soufal on the right after Cresswell's overhit cross. He whipped it in, and Bowen, who was again like a fox in a box, just rose to head it. And I mean, he's not a big lad, is he? But he puts his head where it hurts. He don't care, the guy. He just sums up everything that's great about sort of that mentality of player.
Well, yeah, I mean, the way I saw it is the Norwich defence were being really quite disciplined with the, the regular players you'd expect to get their head on the ball. So at corners and stuff like that, they were marking Dawson, they were taking care of Diop and everyone else. And when that ball came in, I didn't think they expected Bowen to nip in there in front of the defender and nod it past. Great finish. I mean, just typical Bowen.
They were half asleep when that ball went out to Soufal. Yeah. I don't know what if you watch the replay back, the defenders were pointing around, sort of trying to organise. Yeah. And Bowen's nipped in. He's just nipped in between them, caught them sort of completely off guard.
Yeah. I got to say, all through that game inside the stadium, I mean, look, it was quite a quiet night, to be honest, with the crowd and everything else. Because how are you going to get excited playing Norwich at home. I mean, it just doesn't happen, does it?
No.
And there were a few gaps around the stadium as well. I think a lot of people didn't fancy it on a cold Wednesday night. But all through that game, apart from when they had that shot in the second half, and that was really out of nothing, wasn't it? Towards the end.
Yeah.
Other than that, I never felt in danger at all because it looked like we were just taking the ball off them at will in midfield. It looked like they were getting nowhere near us to cause us damage. They had they were stopping us, but that's as much as they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were very physical with us. I think they.
Yeah.
I think
they were trying to kick us off the ball.
Well,
Weren't
they were trying to bully us, weren't they? If you
Yeah.
can't cope with the flair that you're playing against, which we, in comparison to them, we've got. The only other way is to stop them physically, bully them, push them off the ball, or as Krul did, do some sort of WWE move on the edge of the box or whatever, But I mean, I think we dealt with it. I think we dealt with it quite well. I think that we persisted, we kept going, we didn't change our game plan. And as I said, we probably could and should have had more in the first half, but we went in 1-0, and I was reasonably happy. And as you said, Nick, we looked reasonably comfortable.
Yeah, they never looked like troubling us. I don't think. I mean, I can't really remember anything from them in the first half at all.
No,
not really. In fact, I can only remember one thing. We'll get to it, but it was only one moment for them, and it was a pot shot. It was a good shot, but apart from that, they didn't really trouble us. And I think perhaps most astounding when you look at the stats don't really do it justice because sometimes when you look at sort of shots and shots on target. I think we had like 5 shots on target, 10 shots in total, but we had good chances. I mean, that we had some really, really good chances. We weren't shooting from distance. And like I say, all they had, and it's bizarre, really. I know I watched a West Ham fan TV preview with a Norwich supporter from a Norwich channel, and I kind of felt really sorry for him afterwards. And the way that they talk, they do look at us like we look at Man City. They go, when you look at your bench, you've got sort of 10, 15 million pound players. He said we're bringing on 100, 200 grand players. He said that's the difference. He said we really are. He said we've got no ambition. He said it's awful. He said they are by far the worst team in this league. They really are.
Just made it a nonsense sacking the manager. Why would you sack the manager and then Dean Smith's coming? All right, he's a good, honest manager. But he's no better than the German manager they had. He did well. No. He kept. How are you supposed to stay up with a squad like that?
What did they want from him? That's what I don't get. Why would you sack him?
I don't know. They wanted miracles. They wanted miracles from him. There's no way any manager could keep that team up. It's dead. It's dead. I mean, they're exactly the way you just described it. The players that were coming on, never heard of them. Just never heard of them. Real, and they look young. A lot of them look really young as well.
Didn't they sell their best player when they came up? Didn't they?
Yeah.
So, straight away.
I mean, they've got a couple of good players. They've got that Tom Cantwell, who I think he didn't play last night, but he's a good young player.
Yeah.
You've got Max Aarons, the fullback, who a couple of years ago when they was up, a lot of teams seemed to be after, but he stayed with them. But I mean, they seem to come up when they get promoted. They're already looking to when they're getting relegated. It's almost like they're planning for that squad they've got up. I mean, I don't know how much money they need to just invest a little bit in that squad. I mean, Pookie, when they first come up with Pookie, he scored a few goals because he took people by surprise. Well, I mean, since that sort of halfway through that season, he ain't done much more. I'd like to see his stats. I think he scored 5 goals this season, but probably 2 or 3 of them are penalties or something, I'd imagine.
He's a good, hard-working player. But they're just not good enough. They're not. We didn't even get out of second gear last night.
We didn't. We didn't need to, did we? That was the thing. Billy Gilmore on loan from Chelsea. I tell you who else was quite good. I thought was the one on loan from Man United. Was it Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, is he the one that stamped on Bowen?
Yeah, I mean, apart from that, but I mean, he looked pretty nifty, and he looked quite
quick. When he got going down that left hand side, he left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He looked nippy, but he's not their player, is he, anyway? But I just think Dean Smith really, he's gone there to he's not going to rebuild his name at Norwich, is he?
No, he's not. He's not. I was sorry, 1 minute.
Did you? I'll tell you what I did notice, which was really funny, because Dean Smith looks like he's getting really aggy. He looks pissed off.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been. It was the second half. Their centre half. I can't think of his name because I don't know who any of them are. But he's gone to clear it, completely sliced clearance, and Dean Smith on the sideline. It was in the view of the camera, and he jumped and stamped up and down like a little toddler. It was so funny. He was having a proper tantrum, raging at the bloke. He was gone. But
got to give credit to the Norwich fans last night, because they turned out in their thousands. I mean, there was a really good. They pretty much filled that allocation, the lower and the upper tier, and it must be so soul destroying to go and watch a team that you pretty much know is going to get beat, right? Every time they play.
Yeah, and they weren't as naive as they normally are, because I think Norwich at the start of the season, I think people were calling them naive because they're a good footballing team. They try and play the right way, but I do think that I think that Smith's trying to get them. He's trying to get them to be a little bit more resilient. But the trouble is, they've got no. That's why, because Moyes really went for it yesterday. I think I was surprised when Fredericks didn't start. I don't know why he didn't. Soufal played really well, but I think Moyes showed no respect. Moyes showed no respect to Norwich there at all.
No, I actually, now you said that, I thought at the time I did think Fredericks would start as well, because I sort of thought to myself, Soufal don't need to play in this game.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, Fredericks done all right against Leeds. You know, we knew really it wasn't going to be a test, and that's not being big-headed or, you know, on paper, the way it panned out, we maybe should have scored more goals, but the way it panned out was how we thought it would pan out, quite comfortable, if we're all completely honest, you know.
I think Moyes tries to make sure, though, doesn't he? So, like with the FA Cup game at the weekend, he put a strong side out. You know, it must be tempting to play some second-string players, but I think he just wants to get the result and move on.
Yeah, I think he does. I'd say, would you go back to one more question before you move on to the second half, John? It's from Claire. Look, what is the answer with VAR? If it's going to stay, then surely it's a manager's responsibility to call them out. Yeah, because you know what, we had this. I was at training tonight, football training, and we all said the same thing.
What, VAR training?
No, not VAR. We were talking about VAR. We said, look, do you not think that VAR would be quite interesting if the managers had 3 calls each? So if you had 3 opportunities in a game,
You could say that, but then you'd have, even when there wasn't anything to complain about, you'd have managers slowing the game down by making a call.
Yeah,
and just using their call up because they got a call left.
Yeah. That's what they do in tennis. That's what they do in tennis, isn't it? Because they've got so many things on Hawkeye that they can. I think they get 3 calls a set or something, and they do the same
in cricket.
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing in cricket. They go, "Oh, we might as well. We've got 1 left," even though they know they've nicked it with a bat. You know, so it's a bit. No, I'm not sure. I mean, to be fair though, the Bowen goal, the second one, which we'll come on to, VAR saved the goal, didn't it? Really? So
I wish though. Yeah, but the thing is, like I said, that linesman was just putting his flag up for everything anyway, right? He didn't see the offside because the offside wasn't there, so he's just put his flag up by default. VAR, it should be there to my mind, it shouldn't be there just at the beck and call of the referee. So, for instance, with that first goal with Bowen, it's gone in, and the referee, VAR has just kind of ruled it out. They've ruled it out. The referee's gone to VAR and said, "Was there anything wrong with that?" And they said, "Yes, there was an encroachment." And the referee's taken the word for it. Hasn't even bothered checking it on the camera, right? But the other one where Crow gets thrown into the net by Tim Krul, that should be, surely, the referee hasn't asked for VAR assistance. And that's the rule. He's got to ask.
That's at the very least. That's at the very least a yellow card and a foul, isn't it?
Yeah, but that to me makes it pointless. Why can't VAR sort of get in the referee's ear? They're mic'd up anyway and say, "I think you should have a look at this."
Yeah, no, I agree. Completely agree.
It's not, for me now, it's become a little bit like they're all just passing the buck to each other, because the referee will sometimes leave a decision up to VAR. VAR will look at something and go, "Oh, you have a look at it because we're not sure." You know, I know they have to give it to the on-field referee, but the linesmen are scared to put their flags up, although last night's one wasn't. But, you know, I'd rather the linesman flagged for stuff like they would have done back in the day, and then they get overturned.
Would you rather go back to human error?
Personally, yeah, all day long.
All day long.
Yeah, I think there were fewer mistakes. with the humans. I think it's added nothing to the game other than it's added something for the TV audience.
It's a layer of protection for the big teams.
It's added something for the TV audience, and it's robbed the in-stadium audience, hasn't it?
It's robbed that instinctive celebration, celebratory moment. You know what I mean? From both sometimes players and fans alike. Paul Riley's put something in the chat, and it's so true. Right? They've got the VAR and that, but it's still down to human interpretation when he looks at the screen.
That's right. It's
still human error. Either way, you might get a slowed down version, or you might be able to draw with your Etch-a-Sketch on the screen, but it's still what you believe to be. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, right? If you were allowed one improvement to VAR, I'm going to give you my one, so you got time to think. If you're allowed one improvement to VAR, what would it be? All right. My one is when a decision gets referred to VAR, they've got 30 seconds to make a decision.
Yeah. Mine would be show the reason on the big screens to the fans, because the fans are often in absolute disarray, and that sometimes causes more anger. If you can at least justify a decision, I think it sometimes takes away the argument and the constant talking about it to some degree. Although I didn't know this, but Man United ain't got a screen, have they? So they wouldn't be able to have it.
No, but mine would be audio, like you get at the rugby.
Oh, I'd love that. I'd love that.
That would be good. That'd be interesting.
That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
But the best modification they can make is to rip it out and throw it in the fucking bin, as far as I'm concerned.
They never will. They never will now.
No, it's one way street, isn't it? So second half and Norwich.
Yeah, second half. You know, it started pretty much the same as it began in the first half. Just so I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, because people think I'm obsessed with Dawson. Just quickly, he did make a little bit of an error in the first half where he had a weak defensive header straight to Pookie, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
You know, early on, and Rice cleaned up for him. So, you know, he did make an error, the man. Even though
he generally does, but we forgive him because we love him.
Because he's a good-looking man, isn't he? Good-looking man. And we came out second half pretty much similar fashion. There was some fantastic little spells of play. There was one where Fornals got it off somebody, and he played a fantastic on the deck, zipped the ball into Antonio's feet. He spanned Hanley, but then he blazed it over the bar. And, you know, I've been a big fan of Antonio, and I always will be, but I will say that I do think last night his forward play was fantastic, holding the line, holding the ball up, but he did lack that little bit of panache, that little bit of calm finishing. He was blazing and stretching and almost snatching at everything. And, you know, he's our top Premier League goal scorer of all time, so you've got to give him that credit, whether you like it or not. But last night he was overly panicky. He was overly snatching at things, you know.
He was playing more centrally. Like, you know, recently he's been getting wide, hasn't he? Last night he was playing more centrally. So I don't know if that was anything. And he did look like he was, I don't know, in the second half especially. Didn't he go down? He went down after a strong tackle.
He did, yeah.
But when he got up from that, he looked shot. I mean, he looked like he was carrying a knock. I hope he ain't, but he looked like he was.
I think he was having another battle he had a battle with that Hanley, didn't he? Grant Hanley.
Yeah.
You know, like he was having a battle with that top knot geezer at Watford.
That's it. Yeah. Similar
he likes a battle. He does like a battle, Antonio. We know that. But I do think when I look at it, the Watford game, last night's game, I think he's got to stop getting involved in the battle to that degree, because I think it puts him off his game a little bit. And I think that's why he was flashing and snatching at things, because it was almost like in anger, in frustration at being manhandled left, right, and centre. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There was that one. There was that one right at the end where he's snatched at it and he somehow put it over from about 2 yards.
Oh, it did. Yeah, he got his blushes were saved by the offside linesman, but he hit it straight at the keeper's feet, didn't he? From about 2 yards out and that. But you know, it's what he does, isn't it? He's a ball in a china shop. And he will have games like that when he couldn't hit a barn door, I suppose you could say.
He's got no finesse, is he? We know that. We know that.
Yeah.
You know.
But you know, he's got 50 plus goals for us now, whatever it is. Yeah. So he has got some finesse, Nick. So I do disagree somewhat, but I know what you mean. He can be a little bit cumbersome, a little bit clumsy. He's like Paolo One-Shot been down the gym, isn't he?
Yeah, but I still think with Antonio's going to do something in every single game that frustrates you, but the good outweighs the bad. That's my opinion of Antonio.
Yeah.
You know, some games are going to be worse than others. Some games are going to be better. But I think I think his forward play was good. And you know what? When he is playing like that, and when we've got that sort of creativity from central midfield that we had yesterday, it was brilliant. Lanzini and Fornals. We'll get into the player ratings, but those three in the middle, that was good. And you know what? And that's a reason why Bowen was just getting chance after chance after chance, because we was finding our forward players. We was finding them with passes. It was ridiculous. You know, Bowen was having a field day.
I don't often agree with you, Nick, as you probably know after 35 years. But I will say that I do agree with you in so much as Declan Rice yesterday had one of his quieter games because he didn't have to do everything.
No, he didn't have to.
He was able to sit and be that defensive block and shield, right? And allowed Fornals and Lanzini to do the forward stuff.
Exactly.
And the only thing I'd say about it is that it is quite surreal, isn't it? We know how good he is at that, but I also think he's good going forward. So when he does play that role to that discipline, I sort of miss him. I miss him not bursting forward as well. It's like you can't win either way. You know what I mean?
He did. He had a couple of moments, didn't he? Like he went down the left wing, didn't he?
He wasn't his normal lambasting self, Gal. What do you think?
Second half, he got hold of the ball quite a lot and drove forward. I can remember 2 or 3 times he did it. But no, he wasn't. It wasn't the same. But I mean, the chances we created. I mean, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? If we were a little bit more clinical, just like Leeds the other day, if we were a little bit more clinical, one day, one of these games, we're going to give a team a pounding.
That was that. I'm not being funny. I think our towns would have gone up, and that was potentially, if you're ever going to get a double figures game, that could have been it. It could have been.
Double figures.
No, it could have been. No, I'm not saying that. If we'd have been on our game, we weren't. We didn't even get our second gear, and we were creating chances for fun. It was ridiculous. Bowen should have had 4 goals, 5 goals.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, there was that one when Fornals played it into him, and he went through 1-on-1 again. He hit the bar. Then there was one. There was one a bit later on when
Antonio had 2. Yarmolenko had a chance. Lanzini had 2 good chances.
Again, no, that one where he hit the bar, the linesman's flag went up.
Yeah, no, I know.
Right. And the one where Antonio put it over as a keeper, linesman's flag went up. The one where Bowen scored, flag went up. It was going up. The guys seemed to be putting the flag up and letting VAR make the call.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's a performance from Bowen, though? I mean, he was absolutely on fire last night. Properly on fire, wasn't he? He was everywhere.
He was brilliant. And Soufal as well. I think they was both good on that right-hand side. They both were. But Bowen especially, unbelievable.
I think Fabs deserves a bit of credit because he was a bystander for most of that game, and then when they had that shot, he was awake enough to get fingertips on it, and kept it out. So there's been a lot of question marks over him over recent weeks and whether Areola should come in and all that. But at the end of the day, he doesn't deserve to be dropped yet because he hasn't made no gaffes. So why change something that's not broke? And I think yesterday, that showed his professionalism. Even at the age of 35, 36, whatever he is, he's been around the block to still be standing there concentrating, freezing cold, nothing to do. And he was still awake for that shot, from that geezer. Can't remember his name there either. Algerian, maybe he was.
It was a good shot, to be fair. Really, really good shot, wasn't it? But
it was, yeah. He played a beautiful ball out as well. His distribution wasn't as bad yesterday.
Yeah,
it was
he did.
Pinpoint accuracy, this ball that he played out. Very unusual for him.
So but I think the goalkeeper problem that we've got is a nice problem to have. They're 2 good keepers, aren't they?
Yeah,
they are. I think Areola and Fabianski. There is this argument over who should start, but look, I'm not being funny. We've got 2 really good keepers there, so
I'd rather have that problem. I'd rather have that problem than have a crap one, wouldn't you? I mean,
exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. But, should we do player ratings?
Yeah, let's go into player ratings quickly.
Right, put your player ratings in the chat.
Right, we'll start with Fabianski. Come and tell us what your ratings were for Fabianski.
He didn't have a lot to do, but I'm going to give him a 7 purely for staying awake.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7.
So I'm going to give him a 7 for that.
Yep. All right. Let's go. Cresswell. How good was it to have Cresswell back?
Lovely. It was absolutely lovely, and he was really effective. We do miss his attacking game, don't we? He could have only been half fit, so I'm tempted to give him an 8.
No, I think he was. I think he was worth an 8. Everyone's giving Fabianski 7s in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Chris Miles has given Cresswell. Fabianski 7s.
I think Cresswell deserves an 8 purely for the fact that he just slid straight back into left back and just carried on as normal, didn't he? Really?
Yeah.
Giving him an 8. Do you know what? I feel like doing the same for Soufal as well on the other side. I don't know what you think.
He made one assist.
No, I think he was good. That's the best game he's had for a long time.
It's the easiest game he's had in a long time.
Yeah, that's true. He was good though. I mean, he's one of the reasons why Bowen had such a good game as well. He was supporting Bowen an awful lot throughout the throughout the game. What do you reckon? A high 7, 8?
Yeah, I'd say 7 personally.
Yeah, I'll go 7.
Okay. Right, start with Diop. I think Diop had a better game.
Well, Diop and Dawson
that was much better.
They had a very comfortable game, Diop and Dawson, didn't they?
Yeah.
Very comfortable. Yeah. And it is against championship opposition after all, but you can only beat what's in front of you. But yeah, they were both really solid yesterday, both of them.
Yeah. 7, Diop.
Yeah. And I'm gonna just on behalf of the centre half community, I'm gonna give Dawson a 9 just for that turn and shot at the corner.
No, you're not. Come on. What's he getting? 7?
Yeah, they didn't have a lot to do, so you got to say 7s, didn't you, I suppose?
Yeah.
Just for, they could have been doing a lot less during the game, really. Didn't have a lot to do.
Yeah. Right, and then on to, in effect, I think this is how he was playing, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's what I was, definitely.
So, what would you give our captain, Declan Rice?
One of his quieter games, as I said. He didn't, not because he wasn't trying, just because he didn't have to do much really. What he did do was good, as Gary said. He did come forward a bit more in the second half. It's not for me. It's a high 7.
Yeah.
He never got out of first gear. He never got out of first gear. I'll give him a 7. Give him a 7.
Lanzini and Fornals, I think they were both brilliant.
Give them an 8 each for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were both very, very good.
Lanzini loves popping the ball about, then he just pops it about so easy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Fornals is passing, his forward passing so sharp. He's brilliant.
Can I just show you this from Chris Miles? He's ran away because he's put Declan Rice 4.
He's having a laugh. He's having a laugh.
How dare you, Chris?
That empty bar in Stoke must be.
Chris, get out of my pub.
Right. So let's just go back and see if anyone disagrees with us anyway. So we've got back. So Dawson's we've got 7s and 6s, 7, 7.5. So that's fine. Rice we've got 7s. Most people agree with us. Rice 8. Robert Singleton is the only one that disagreed with us on that one. And Mike Hatcher as well.
Glenn Marshall 8 as well.
And Glenn Marshall, yeah. Lanzini, everyone said the same thing about Lanzini and Fornals. They really were. They dictated that was the reason we was creating so many chances. The forward players were having a good time. Well, let's start with Vlasic and on the left. I don't think he had a particularly great game.
Well, I think he done some good stuff. There was that thing in the second half where he mugged the guy right in front of us down the Bobby Moore end and walked his way into the box. I think I'd give him a 7. I'd give him a 7.
Yeah, that's fair. It wasn't a bad game. He didn't have a bad game.
No, I thought he was still very good, and he was tricky, and he was a pain in the arse, and he contributed a fair bit to that game, didn't he?
He did.
The only thing I'd say about him yesterday was, I'm not saying he was going over easy. He's
soft. I think he's a bit soft.
Yeah,
calling him a diver, John. You're calling him a diver.
No.
He seemed a bit soft, Gary.
Yeah.
I think against was it against Leeds when he got a free kick for that bit of dark artwork we was talking about.
Yeah.
I think he looks for free kicks a lot. I think he's one of them players.
I think he does. Yeah, he does.
So if anyone goes near him or puts a foot out to tackle him, he'll go over trying to win things. Which I would have said high sixes. So I sort of agree with Grant if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I think 7's a bit high. I don't think he did anything particularly well, Gary.
I'm going then.
It wasn't a bad game. I'm not slating him, but I don't think he had. I don't think he had a good game. He wasn't one of our better players.
I'm not precious.
Just so the watching world can see, and no one goes looking for him. Chris has apologised.
Thank God for that, Chris. I thought you got COVID again there for a minute.
He'll never be allowed out of Hereford again.
Okay, let's go on to Antonio next, and we do. Well, I'm going to put this above his head now. Hang on. Let's do Antonio. Let's do Antonio next.
Man of the match all season, that is, isn't it?
Yeah. So Antonio next. What do you reckon for Antonio?
7.
Yeah, worked hard. Looked absolutely knackered in the second half. I felt for him a little bit. He did a lot of stuff right. Like you touched on, he did hold the ball up well yesterday, and that is something I've been groaning about him over. So I was quite happy to see that. But he was played more centrally. It wasn't his normal free role like lately, where we've seen him going out, dropping out to the wing and swapping over with one of the wide players. He wasn't doing that, but he was being joined by the wide players in the box quite a lot, but he wasn't getting out wide.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, let's mark Bowen now. I'll give you now. For me, there was a lot of comments yesterday because I said that was a 10 out of 10 game, and what people were saying was
I disagree.
He missed too many chances. He scored 3. 1 got disallowed. He won us the game.
I'll give him a 9 out of 10 because he should have scored that goal and taken the pressure off us after a couple of minutes, right?
Yeah,
and he should have scored that one that he chipped over the keeper, which probably would have ended up being onside, knowing that linesman. He did only score. Yeah, he scored 2 in the end, but he had a lot more chances. But again, he's getting himself into those positions. I thought he was fantastic yesterday. It's a really well-deserved 9. You've got to be flawless to get a 10 in my eyes.
Yeah.
Hey,
you've got to be flawless to get a 10.
I'm going to give him a 9.5.
We don't do point.
Don't do half, Nick.
Half a mark. I think
I feel really harsh just giving him a 9. That's the best performance from a player I've seen all season. That was brilliant.
Okay, but
when Lanzini ran him close.
What yesterday?
In that Palace game.
Oh, the Palace game. Yeah, but you didn't want to give Lanzini a 10. I like Gary said, he scored 2. He hit the post. He hit the bar. He had a goal ruled out for VAR, right?
Yeah.
But he did miss a couple of sitters, and that's not taking away from him. And that does sound overcritical. Of course, it does. But you've got to be realistic with your scoring. You can't give him bloody 10 out of 10, Nicholas.
Well,
and if you give him a 10, Nick, if you give someone a 10, you're saying really that's the best you think they can do.
Ah, exactly.
I'll tell you. There's a what are we giving Danny Dyer out of 10 this season for
Danny Dyer gets 11 out of 10.
He gets 11 out of 10.
Can I say my very obvious joke?
Go on.
I'll give her 1.
Very good. Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair enough.
It's a worry
for Masuaku when he came on right now. No. Listen. Apart from the stupid cross that he put in, first of all, that's the best he's looked for a while, and I think he always looked better with Cresswell behind him. He always looks better with Cresswell, but I think he looks all right. I think he looks okay.
Again, no, he does look better with Cresswell behind him. You're absolutely right. But that aside, he only had a forward role. He barely crossed the halfway line. He spent his whole how many minutes he was on. He spent them in the opposition half. And ridiculous cross. And that the cross for the goal though was really good. So I think he.
Go on, Gav. Sorry.
Well, I'm just thinking for the time he spent on the pitch.
He did
and what he was asked to do. Yeah, 6 or a 7 for me.
I'll give him a 7. I think that's. I think he was okay. I think he did all right.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yarmolenko came on with I think he had 4 minutes or 5 minutes yesterday, and you know what? He actually didn't look bad. He got shot off on all of his right foot.
He did. I was quite excited by that because it was a lovely little bit of play by him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'll give him a 7 as well for effort, or 6. Should I give him a 6 because that's all he did, wasn't it?
So he got he got about 28 grand a minute yesterday. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's our match ratings done.
Right.
You know what
okay,
the worrying thing about it all at the minute is that I get it. Everyone's going Bowen for England. Why is Bowen not selected for England? I'd rather he wasn't, because I don't want him going there, getting injured, getting more tired.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I just want to protect. I want to protect him, because I think what we're seeing now is we're seeing, like, obviously it's always just been Rice, and I think Bowen, has he been involved in? I can't remember how many goals I read. Is it like 18 in 30 or something? I can't remember what stat I read yesterday now. Anyway, but I mean, the bloke's phenomenal. He's becoming priceless to us to some degree.
Yeah,
you've got to. I mean, when you look at his contribution to us compared to some of the others that he's up against, I mean, for the England team, he's got to be in that next England squad. I mean, surely Southgate's looking at him. He can. He's done it on merit. And if he just gets overlooked for the next, because it's a friendly, the next one, isn't it? If he gets overlooked for that, that's just out of order.
Well, I'm going to be honest. Would you swap Bowen for Saka or Smith Rowe?
No.
For Smith Rowe, I would.
You'd swap him for Smith Rowe?
No, sorry, swap. I thought you were talking about in the England side. Sorry, I got that completely wrong.
No. If for West Ham, would you swap for Bowen for Saka?
No chance. He's better than both of them. He's better than both of them.
He is.
Yeah, no shadow of doubt. But what I'm saying is, for the England side, Saka's kind of he's got his place. He seems to be part of the setup now. So I think it's going to be hard to dislodge him. So he definitely getting over Smith Rowe for me. So if Southgate we were talking at cross purposes. If Southgate selects Smith Rowe over Bowen, there's something wrong. I can understand why he would continue to pick Saka though, because he sticks with players, he shows loyalty. But yeah, I wouldn't swap Bowen for fucking anyone. Grealish, anyone. I wouldn't swap him.
No.
This is what I was talking about. What I brought up earlier. So Bowen has been involved in 18 goals in the last 30 games.
Jesus.
So either scoring or assisting or something like that.
I mean, that's an impressive stat, isn't it?
And this is, I think what Steve says here is interesting, isn't it? Because the better he plays, the more you're concerned about somebody coming in and buying him, and it's like it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's a catch-22. It's like
don't worry about it because look, whenever you've got a good player, you should take it as a compliment that the big teams are interested in them. You know, we know that the press play these games. As soon as a player plays well for us for a season, suddenly they start linking them with the bigger clubs because in their mind there's a very simple routine. Like every player we're linked with is linked with Newcastle because the press equate that they're our level, right? And Villa, everyone that we're interested in, Villa are interested in. But then as soon as a player plays well for Villa or for us or forever, they get linked with the next tier of clubs. And that's exactly what's happened to Declan Rice, and it's now what's happening to Bowen, and it'll happen to whoever's the next good player as well. It'll probably happen to Souček, Nick, for instance.
Yeah, probably, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the
Nick.
We ain't got to sell him. He's under a long contract, and we ain't got to sell him, so Liverpool can fuck off.
Yeah, no. But what I'll say is, with Bowen, we've got Danny Dyer, and I don't think Danny Dyer's dad, Danny Dyer, would be very happy if he went to Liverpool. So I can't see him going anywhere. I think we're all right, providing that relationship stays stable. I think we're all good.
I think Joan agrees. Joan agrees with you. Danny have got it.
Yeah,
covered.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay,
well, let's move swiftly into the transfer centre. Gary, get your yellow tie on.
Yeah. Welcome to the transfer centre with me, not Jim White. Let's. So what we're going to do? We're going to have a little bit of fun, similar to what we did. This is episode 2 of the transfer centre, by the way. You know, for those of you who saw episode 1, where we go through and we look at the latest batch of players that are linked with a move to West Ham. We haven't just picked these players out of the sky. They seem to genuinely be linked to West Ham in one way or another. Lots of rumours about them, etc. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 each. We've got left backs, we've got centre backs, and we've got strikers. We've got one of each, and we're going to go through them. So we're going to start with the left backs, go to the centre backs, and then finish with the sort of pleasurable bit with the strikers. So let's start. So John, let's go to your left back first. Who have you got? And Nick, you're on the slides.
Yeah, Nick. Aaron Hickey. I don't know why, but every time I look at his name, it reminds me of like a drunk Scottish sailor. You know, I don't know why. I've got the Hickey. Yeah. So this kid, I mean, to be honest with you, it's interesting now, isn't it? Because we was desperate for a left back because we didn't know how long Cresswell was going to be out for, right? But now Cresswell's back, and we hope he's back, to the end of the season. I'm sure he will be, right? So now the priority changes in terms of the left back. And what I mean by that is we're not looking at a left back to bring in there, just go into the team. We're going to look at a left back now who's possibly going to come in and be an understudy to Cresswell going forward. What's Cresswell, 31? So this kid, Aaron Hickey, he's got a fantastic resume already, actually. He's only 19. He started his youth career at Celtic and then Hearts. And he made his debut for Hearts at the end of the 18-19 season and then got into the first team proper and consistently during 2019-2020. At the end of that season, he had generated a lot of interest from all around Europe, namely Bayern Munich, Villa, Lyon. Celtic wanted to take him back as well. And Bologna, the latter of who he joined in August 2020. He's got great versatility, primarily plays as a left back, but he seems that he can play anywhere across the back four. He seems quite versatile. Some of his attributes given from his previous boss at Hearts, Stephen Naismith at the time, said he's a very intelligent player. He's very mature for somebody of his age. In his first season at Bologna, he had 12 appearances in all competitions. And so far this season, his second season, he's got in excess of 20 appearances, and I think he's got about 4 or 5 goals. His rating at the moment is around £12 million, as you've got there on the screen. He's not yet a full Scottish international. He's played for Scotland at under 17 level. He has been called up to the under 21s, but he had to pull out on both occasions because of injuries. He looks a good prospect to me. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know a great deal about him until the last few weeks. I'm not going to say I did. But he looks like a very well-rounded fullback. And Scotland in recent years seem to be producing some good fullbacks, don't they?
Yeah.
However, I did, and someone's put it in the chat, and I'm not just saying it to put it in the chat. I did start to think, though, well, if we're going to buy a 19-year-old for the future, then what's going to happen with somebody like Longello, who we all rave about in the European game? So as much as Aaron Hickey could be somebody we buy as an understudy to Cresswell, you have to start to wonder what's the point of doing it if we've already got Longello there. But he does look a good player. He seems to snip at £12 million. He's well-rounded. He's aggressive. He's tenacious in the tackle, and he can play with both feet. So he's an interesting one for me, but I don't know what you think about that, sort of buying somebody, at 19 when we've already got an abundance of youth players waiting in the wings. It's a difficult one, isn't it?
It is a difficult one, but when you think about it, we're competing in all competitions. All right, we're out of the League Cup now, but we're hopefully have a busy schedule this year, a busy schedule next year, and that means you do need 2 teams for a start. So that means you need 2 left backs really, and to have a spare in Longello, for instance, who's still young and needs time to mature. I don't think that's a bad situation, right? Having I think you need 2 first team. two first choice players in every position, ideally. So I would like.
You don't want to. Basically, the idea is if you get an injury, you want a comparable player to come in so that you don't weaken the team.
Yeah,
that's ideally what you want. And for me, from what I've seen of him, he looks really, really good. He's really talented. He's really highly rated. Yeah. As Claire said, to the point where Man City have been linked with him. People are talking about sort of Longello and players like that. That is great. But look, I'm not being funny. If this kid is better than Longello, it's better for West Ham. If we bring him in and Longello's better, then Longello will get in front of him. But I don't think that we should. If there's players like him available, the question is, he's playing first team football. Would he come in to be a backup player? But he's only 19 and it is a Premier League. 19,
yeah. Yeah. I think the thing is, there's quite the thing that wins him over Longello is the first team appearances that he's made. He's made probably 60 games in first team, whether it be in Scotland or Italy. Throughout his career already. And interestingly, I've just had another thought about Longello. As well as we thought he played in that European game, I don't think he's even been in. Has he been on the bench since?
No, he
Been on the
hasn't.
bench,
He
which I
hasn't.
find astounding, really.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the bits of background on him is he's not supposed to be the most confident lad. Whereas the right back, what's his name? His name I forget. He's very
Ashby.
Ashby,
yeah, Ashby. He's very confident and
Yeah.
back and obviously the centre half for Lacey is the most experienced out of all of them. When he's got a few placed on the bench. So
I didn't know that Arnie's playing for Bologna these days. I didn't know that's where he was playing.
Didn't know that, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is another Arnie.
So let's move on to now, Nick. Let's move on to my left back, which is Josh Doig. It's a great name.
It is a good name. There we go.
Another Scottish name for another Scottish player.
Josh Doig, a left back born 18th of May 2002, 19 going on 20 from Edinburgh. There's not a lot to say on him other than he's currently playing for Hibs, where he's made 44 appearances since 2020. Good for a youngster with 1 goal. He also spent a short period on loan to Queen's Park, where he played 7 times. He was a youth player with Hearts, and he was released by Hearts and basically thrown on the scrap heap. And then he joined Hibs. And then with Hibs, he really took his opportunity, his second chance. Shades of Declan Rice. He was named Scottish Football Writers Association Young Player of the Year, aged 18. So he immediately, started improving, and he was then rewarded with a new 5-year contract with Hibs. So this is a kid that was chucked on the scrap heap and then came back and really made a go of it. He's played for Scotland under 18 and under 21 levels. He's also played in the Europa Conference with Hibs. He's young, energetic, pacey, likes to get forward, delivers a great cross. There was a rumour that Josh Doig was going to be made vice captain at Hibs, and that would make him deputy Doig. Right? So,
boom, boom. Jesus. What?
The good thing about him is he would be worth a gamble because
he's cheap.
He's between 3 and 5 million, probably closer to 3. And so it's the sort of thing that perhaps the sort of business that David Moyes likes to do. It's not really a gamble, is it?
Do you think we'd do a down payment and the rest over 3 years, or would we pay him one lump? What would we do?
Probably offer him 500k, wouldn't we?
What was the joke you made about him? I missed it, Gal. Sorry.
Oh, he's going to be made vice captain. That would make him deputy Doig.
Or top Doig.
Top Doig. Yeah.
Listen, I'll do the jokes around here, Sam. Yeah.
Okay, my tumbleweed. Go on then. Right, so that's it for Doig. There's not much. He's a youngster. He's a good youngster. Yeah. He's made, he was thrown on a scrap heap and he's come back round. Really made a go of it. It shows, great determination from the kid. And he's doing well for himself. So potentially one.
I'll tell you what he is. He's quick and he's a tall left back.
He's a tall left back, and he's also can play centre back as well, right? So left back, left-sided centre back, and left back, 2 for the price of 1, 3 million quid sold to the bloke at the back.
I think Jones interested in getting involved. He wants to have a whip round and buy him.
Yeah. Right, so Nick, let's move on to your left back. Who's yours?
Okay, Borna Sosa.
What's his haircut, Matt?
I don't know.
That is a dodgy haircut.
He looks like the bloke out of Dumb and Dumber.
He does, doesn't he? He's a Croatian. He's a Croatian international as well, I believe. Obviously, age 23. Another tall player. He's completely left-sided. He's a left wing. He's a left wing back or a left winger. He can play left back as well, but defensively he can be a bit suspect. He started off his career. He came through the Dynamo Zagreb academy, like most of the Croatian talent does, to be quite honest. Apart from our own Vlasic, who came through their arch rivals academy, was it Hajduk Split? That's why when we played Zagreb, there was a bit of animosity there, wasn't there? But he moved from Dynamo Zagreb back in I think it was 17-18 season to in the 18-19 season he moved to Stuttgart in what was Stuttgart's record ever transfer window. They brought in like 7 players and spent 50 million. That was a massive spending spree for them back then. It didn't go very well for them though, because they got relegated that season. And Borna Sosa was in and out of the team with injury, and and kind of lack of sharpness and stuff like that. He played roughly half of the games. The next season, Stuttgart had a good season. They did bounce back. They came back again. His impact in 1920 season wasn't. It was similar. It wasn't great, but apparently what had happened, sort of read into it, and he moved from Croatia as a young lad. His family didn't follow him, and what happened was his fortunes turned around in the 2021 season when his family moved to Stuttgart with him, and they all moved into a big house, and he had more of a sort of a settled home, and he produced some amazing performances. He's a really talented player. He's really exciting on the left. He's quick. He's tricky. He's got an amazing delivery from the left-hand side. Great from set pieces. He is a good player. And in the 2021 season, his injury problems. They did kind of. He's never. It doesn't seem to have bad injuries. He gets niggling injuries. Yeah. So he's in and out of the team. So he never seemed to in the first few years get a consistent run of games together. But he seems to have sorted that out the last 2 years. He's played 15 games this season. He's got for a Stuttgart team that are not playing particularly well, and he's got 1 goal and 3 assists. But he is a good player. He's a very good player. I think he's quite expensive, and with our system that we play now, I've looked at this player. Like I say, he would be like an Arthur Masuaku left back, but he would be far. He would be. He's not a very good left back.
Should we cut the review there then? Because
no. What I mean is he's not a left back, but he's a talented forward. He's a very good forward. But we've got Vlasic that plays on the left. So having looked at this lad, I don't know that there's going to be much of a market for him. And like I say, he's almost fluctuated. He seems like he's a bit of a sensitive lad. So for that sort of money, what was it? 18 million his market value. It's a bit of a
I've never heard of him
from me.
Yeah, I think sensitive and Premier League probably not the best combination, are they?
No. It looks so look.
Shite then.
Someone said, "You sure it's not Jim Carrey?"
Yeah.
Rub him off the list.
Look, honestly, we're not making these names up. These are players that we are linked with. Well, I say we're linked with. I don't know if we're linked with him, but he's on the list. He's on the list.
Yeah, but also, and we're specifying the ones that we think or we thought we needed cover in, namely left back, and then obviously we're going to be going on to the centre back in a moment. I'll be honest with you, mate, and Gal, I don't know what you think, but I think our priorities have changed somewhat now. The need for a left back has all of a sudden gone because of Cresswell's return. So the understudy card may be an option. But going out and getting someone who's going to challenge for Cresswell, I don't think so.
I think you're right, John. But what I'd like to see is a left-sided player who can play left back and centre back, and there's a couple of those in this list. Because we're about to come to one soon in Lloyd Kelly, and he looks like a proper talent.
Okay.
So
do you want to do that now, Gary?
Well, we can do me first if you want. Let's do Lloyd Kelly.
Let's hear about this fella.
So look, this is someone. So we're on to the centre backs. He's down as a centre back in my list, but he's also a left back. In fact, he's more well known as a left back. But born in 98, 23, a left back from Bristol. Interesting background. I know of another left back from Bristol that we once had. He's got a very interesting sort of family background. He spent 12 years being raised in foster care, along with his siblings from age 6. So highly rated, very highly rated. Can play in both positions, left back and left-sided centre-back, very, very competently. He excels in both. He was spotted playing for a local side in Bristol, age 12, worked his way through the Bristol City Youth Academy up to 2017. Then he then became, as a youngster, a fixture in the Bristol City side, played 43 times with, getting 2 goals. In 2017-18, he won the Bristol City Young Player of the Year. And in 2019, he joined Bournemouth, who at the time were in the Premier League. And he actually made 8 appearances while they were in the Premier League. He's actually become ever present with Bournemouth since, making 64 appearances with another 2 goals. He's represented England at under 20 level as well as under 21. He moved to Bournemouth for a fee believed to be 13 million. His nickname is Lloyd Loco, and he's got a key trait described as Stamina King. He is under contract till June 2024. Great passer of the ball. Cross, can put in a good cross, can take players on, holds onto the ball very well, disciplined, does not dive into tackles. One review I read said this player has no significant weaknesses.
Wow.
Lots of interceptions, clearances, aerial duels, one with an 83.5% pass completion rate. This is a proper player, right? This season, he took over the captaincy at Bournemouth, and in the first 14 games, they went unbeaten. He played alongside Gary Cahill, and he still is playing alongside Gary Cahill. That equaled Bournemouth's, unbeaten record that they had since 1961. And so, as a result of all that, Alex McLeish, his current manager, said, if you're going to buy him, you're going to pay a proper fee to get him.
Now, do the accent, Gary. Do the accent.
If you're going to buy him, you're going to pay a proper fee. So there, I like this guy a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my pitch over.
He does. It's a really good pitch, Cal, to be honest with you, mate. I mean, and you've sold him to me if I had my choice. He does look very good. He's got good experience already. I mean, even playing alongside Gary Cahill, we may mock Gary Cahill when he's old and all that, but someone like that age playing alongside someone with such experience and what Gary Cahill, we forget what Gary Cahill
He's a top centre back.
He's had a great career. He's won some fantastic trophies with Chelsea and, represented England. So learning his trade, if you like, alongside someone like that will only do him good. Yeah. And the only thing I'd say, looking at it, is that obviously Bournemouth are top of the Championship at the minute. Yeah. So, I can't see us getting him now, but obviously he'd be one to keep an eye on, wouldn't he?
We'd have to pay a decent fee for him to get him now. Yeah. We'd have to convince him. Apparently, we might get him because I don't know what the situation is. He took over from their captain because their captain got injured. I don't know whether their captain, who was the centre half, whether he's fit again now. So there might be an outside chance. Might be an outside chance. Who knows? I think, I don't think Bournemouth are short of a few quid either. So they're not going to have their heads turned by money, are they?
No.
Right. So let's move on.
He would be more expensive than 9 million. Now I think you're going to be looking at probably upwards of 15 million for him.
Should I just run through some of the? I've got some comments about Kelly.
Yeah, go on.
So Freshfielder's just arrived. Bet I missed the spicy stuff. I'll look later. Jonas said, "I love transfer speculation. Fans should be allowed to sign players, but we should anyway."
I agree.
I think Claire spoke about her daughter before. I think Claire's daughter's right into her footy. Claire's daughter rates him massively. Sharky confirms talented player. Nico Moyes likes versatility and size in his squad. That's a good shout.
Yeah.
A side note: Bournemouth have a stupid badge. Yeah, Rob sort of said what we said. Would Bournemouth let him go now? You'd have to break the bank to get him out now, wouldn't you? Really, but it's what you have to do. You have to do. Alan, best so far. This kid has talent.
Yeah.
I think that's good. And someone said the obvious. Harry Redknapp could have a word for us, and he probably could. Was he lived down in Sandbanks, in it or something?
That's it.
Yeah.
Good player. I'd be over the moon if we got him. So should we go? Should we go to my one next?
Yeah, let's go to yours.
Okay. Well, you did Lloyd Kelly. I'll raise you an Abdou Diallo. Very similar player, to be quite honest. He's older. He's 25, 6'2", left back and centre back. Very, very similar. I would say this chap, on the face of it, is probably a bit more technically gifted and rounded. But he is, like I say, he's a bit older. He's more of he's a central defender by trade, but he's operated solely at left back this season for Paris Saint-Germain. And he's played there numerous times last season as well in 1920. He's a bit of a mainstay. He's a good player. That was also the case at his previous club, Borussia Dortmund, and he had the odd game at left back for Mainz too. And during his time at AS Monaco, his first club, he did actually dabble with playing holding midfield, and he was really, really effective. He's a talented player. He can spray the ball about. He's got the lot. In a recent interview that he did on PSG's official YouTube channel, he talked up playing abroad as his next move. He spoke about his time at Dortmund, and he said, "I think for a player playing abroad is really rewarding, and it's something that you should experience in your career. And I want to experience that again. And I would like to go to. I would like to go to England. Basically, it's a change of environment and climate, a new language, new culture, different faces, and other ways of thinking. Another thing to obviously put in, he does play for PSG. Diallo, he's a winner. He's already won a few trophies. Most of them have come with PSG. He's won a league title, 2 Coupe de France, 1 Coupe de la Ligue, and 2 Trophies des Champions. He was also part of the AS Monaco side that won the league title in 2016. That saw the likes of Anthony Martial move on to Man United, and you know he's a very good player. Whether or not he's going to be, I don't think. Apparently, what we're looking at here is a loan, like we've done with Areola, and we've done. Don't forget, we've done business with PSG.
Yeah.
So they're looking at a loan with an option to buy. He is a superb centre back, but he's also, you know, like I say, on par with Lloyd Kelly, but much more high profile.
Yeah.
Much more high profile. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, he looks like a proper player, doesn't he? By looks of it, I've kind of been bitten by the Diop experience a little bit. You know, young French centre halves. You know, but again, you got to treat everybody. You know, look at everybody on their merits. To me, it looks tempting, but he looks expensive.
Yeah. I think some people have said it in the chat as well. Try before you're buying it. Get him on loan.
Well, that's it. That's it.
No rush to buy him. Get him on loan. See what he's like we've done with Areola. Hopefully, you get more game time than Areola, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be a loan if anything, wouldn't it? I mean, PSG have got an abundance. Their squad's huge, isn't it? So they're probably a bit like Chelsea. We've got players on loan all over the world, haven't they? You know.
I'd go for that. I'd go for a loan as long as we've got an agree to buy for a price afterwards. I don't want to have another Lingard situation. You know, I think every loan we should have ability to buy.
Yeah.
Buy, you know.
You know, no, I think so because that was if they do come in and you know they're bloody amazing like that. It's just heartbreaking to send them back. You need that. Otherwise, you just feel like you. Well, I don't know. I mean, would you on reflection, would you have rather not had Lingard?
No, not at all. It was a fantastic experience. He did brilliantly for us. And to be fair, if we bought Lingard again, he probably wouldn't come in be as effective as he was the first time around. But just on principle, it would have been nice to have been able to keep him, right?
That's it. Got a comment here from Dougie Montana. Are West Ham genuinely interested in these players, or are they your choices? They are not our choices. We're literally these are players that we're obviously we're reading that we're linked with in the media, and obviously from our trusted ITK sources, you know.
What sources? The only sources I got is ketchup and mayo in the fridge. What you want about?
Yeah. But like I said, I don't know. We're not ITKs, mate. We don't know. So
this is just stuff you see in the press and that, in it. What you pick up in the press.
We haven't just picked them out of the sky. To be fair, these ones have been linked with us in multiple places. So you know. It might be something in them, there might not be. But, you know, when I get to the transfer tracker at the end, you'll realise that so far we've reviewed like 20 players and almost. And so it's
2 shows.
You know, we might end up signing 1 or 2 by the end of the transfer window. So most of them are just going to be rumours anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's the thing. This is the thing, isn't it? The media stir up so much paper talk. Everyone's linked with everybody. Yeah. Every player we've mentioned on here, somebody's come in the chat and gone, oh, they're also linked with Villa and this one. You know, now Newcastle got the money. Newcastle linked with every player in the world as well. So
and to be quite honest, it can be quite frustrating as well because you kind of go a bit stir crazy going through all these players. I would much rather West Ham did their business in week 1, so we didn't have to talk about it. But
just for your benefit,
for my benefit, yeah.
But at the same time, you know, being purely selfish, I quite enjoy doing these transfer shows because the last one I learnt about probably 7 new players that I didn't know about, and I'm learning about
they're educational. So you're learning a lot about players that are going to end up playing for other teams. It's good.
Yeah. Right. So let's move on to your centre half, John.
Yeah, just a few other comments about Diallo. Russ says could get Diallo in on loan. Only 9 appearances so far for PSG.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a good. Where are we? Oh, someone's scrolled up. Hang on, sorry. Could we get a player from PSG? Yes, we could, Paul. Have faith.
Areola's from PSG.
Areola, exactly.
Yeah.
But then Russ says, be careful because he's Senegalese, like you know who. You know
what was on me flag? Did I get the nationality wrong?
No, I think ain't Arthur's
No,
Senegalese.
I didn't. No, I did get his. I think.
Oh, is that Alpha Senegalese?
I think Arthur's Senegalese, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is he?
That's
Okay.
what Russ is saying.
Listen, we don't discriminate. We don't discriminate. That's fine. That's fine.
Nico says more polished than Lloyd Kelly. He's got experience against very different styles.
Yeah, I agree. I'd be happy with both, but I think Diallo would be. You'd be bringing him in. But having said that, you would bring him in because we're talking about a left-sided centre back here, aren't we? So you are buying a centre back that can also play at left back if we need it. Yeah. So he is a first team player. Whoever we buy next, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I wish there was Dougie. Is there another Ogbonna out there? I mean,
yeah, and I think it's a safe thing to do as well. Going back to the conversation we had earlier, right? If you're bringing someone that can play both of those positions, then one of those positions is going to be open most of the time. And when it ain't, when you switch to like 3 at the back and stuff like that, because it gives us the flexibility to be able to switch, doesn't it?
Yeah,
to have more decent centre halves.
Yeah, I don't know, absolutely.
And if they can play wing back as well, because. So unfortunately,
I must admit that video, because you shared that video obviously with us, that Lloyd Kelly video, that was basically highlight clips. It was about 2-3 minutes of him just bombing down the left. He looks really good, and his interceptions. He looks like a really good player. But he did look to me, from the video that you sent me, he looked more predominantly left-sided. It looked like his instinct was to attack down the left, so that's not a problem.
Masuaku is Congolese, not Senegalese.
Maybe you got the flag wrong, Nick. Did you?
No. It'd be good. It'd be Google that got it wrong, not me. Right, here we go. Go on.
Benoit Badass Shilly. He sounds like a roadman, doesn't he? A bit of a badass. I mean, this geezer's an absolute monster, isn't he? Absolute monster, however you say it. He's a giant of a man. Only 20 years of age, currently playing for Monaco. As you got there, the valuation just around £25 million. He's played over 80 games already in the French league for Monaco. He's represented France in all levels, from under 16 to under 21s. He made his debut only in November 2018. So what's that? 2 and a bit years ago. He's a left-footed centre back. Last summer, he had previous interest from Man United and Bayern Leverkusen again. He has got fantastic speed. He's very athletic, as you can see. He's very strong, and he's fairly agile, and he's absolutely dominant in the air. I was reading a couple of reports, and they said that he was by far one of the best aerial defenders. He won so many. So Dawson, they have his work cut out to keep up with him, if you like. Apparently, he's very assured in possession. He orchestrates a lot from the back, distributes from deep. However, there was a few question marks over him because of his frame. Apparently, his legs are ridiculously long, so he gets himself in a little bit of trouble with his with the way he tries to reach round with the ball.
Right. Okay.
He reaches round from unnatural positions and unnatural angles, which sometimes gets him into trouble because he then struggles to get back into position correctly. I look at him and I think unit, young, looks good, ticks all the boxes to some degree. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. It's in some ways just a replica of Diop.
It's Diop Mark 2, isn't it?
Yeah. And the thing for me now is Diop's only 24. I've said this recently as well to you. I don't think we need to get rid of Diop. We need to give him a bit of time. We need to put our arm around his shoulder, and we need to allow him to play in the West Ham first team with West Ham first team defenders. Now Cresswell's back, you'll see the confidence coming back into him.
I mean, do you know what? We didn't actually get to see him that much with Zuma, did we? And I think we all wanted to see that. You know?
And that's the thing. I've been critical of him. As a fan, you're allowed to be critical of a player as long as they don't overstep the mark, right? Because all you want is them players to do well. But this guy, Badass, whatever his name is, to me, there's no point bringing him in. We've got that player there. We've got Diop readily available. He knows the club. He knows the Premier League. Yes, we know he's prone to a few mistakes. But at the end of the day, there's no point giving up on him because there is a player in there. No doubt about it. We know how highly he was rated in France before he came to us. You know what I mean?
It was absolutely, yeah. It was a similar sort of thing. I think we was quite surprised to get him because there was quite a few clubs in for Diop, wasn't there?
Yeah,
And it was a similar thing. He'd and Diop sort of like captained every youth level of when it went to the French team. He'd come through. He was really highly rated, and he was really good in his first season. He looked good for whatever reason. He has regressed a little bit, but I think we've identified that. Look, Diop isn't the leader. I think stick Zuma next to him, and let's see how it goes. I think that he's got to try that first.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. To be honest. I think with Diop being left-sided, is exactly what Zuma needs. Zuma needs to play on the right. He's dominant on the right, isn't he? And he is a leader, absolute leader. And when he first joined the club, Zuma, I noticed that Diop started adapting his game, and he started playing more like a beast. And I quite like that. I'd love to see him given a chance. He is very highly rated on the continent still. Diop, we'd have no problem selling him, no problem at all. I'd rather keep him and see if we can do something with him.
Well, I've also read, because that deal there, I mentioned to you the other day, there was a loan deal, and there was also talk of a part exchange deal with Diop as well, because Diop's stock is still high.
For who, Nick? Sorry, for who?
Oh, with that player, with that Monaco. So a part exchange player with badass.
Yeah, and he would go over there and probably flourish in a sort of slightly slower league. He would flourish, and it's a league that he knows. I mean, he knows France inside out, doesn't he? He should have really been a French international, but he ended up going for one of the African countries because he couldn't get into the French team.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people agree with that. A lot of people agree with this point about Diop. It's his play is contingent on who he's paired with.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
It is. Probably the same with Dawson. Dawson and Diop are both fine if they're with a proper.
Yeah, we've said that. Of course, we have. And the thing is it's very easy to forget how good Diop has been for us in the past, and the potential that's still there.
This season in the European game, he's had a couple of really good European games.
Slower pace.
Slower pace does suit him. Gary's right. Gary is right there with that. It does suit him more. But what I would say is, apart from the European games, in terms of Premier League, he's had quite a long time out the first team. So he's been sitting on the bench watching all the other centre backs for quite a while, and he's come back in at the wrong time because he's come back in when he is needed, and he's only playing against or playing with the second string, right? The second string defenders. In my mind, there's no doubt that Diop has potential and will be a fantastic player one day. It's just whether he'll do it with us and whether we'll give him the time to.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, as DJ Russie B says there, I mean, we all remember that comment from Jose.
Yeah.
When he was
that was against his Man United side, wasn't it? Where he absolutely dominated them. He was brilliant that day.
There is talent. There is talent there.
So look, we've covered the left backs and we've covered the centre backs, and so now it's time to move on to the fun bit. And I've got, I'll leave my one till last because it's really finishing on a low. So John, let's start with your striker to start with.
Okay, like I say, right, these ones, where are they? Oh, here we go.
As if we ain't heard this name enough. My God. Divock Origi. He's been at Liverpool since he was 8, I think. I'm only joking. We know what we know what he's got to offer. Yeah, we know he can score goals in the Premier League. We know he knows that. We know he's strong. We know he scores important goals. We know that Klopp rates him. The only thing that worries me about Origi is how long is he happy to sit on the bench for at Liverpool? When is he going to suddenly step up at 26 now he is and say, I want first team football? And in some ways that makes me question the man as a man, because I think to myself, you might be winning all these trophies and all that, but you're not contributing that much, are you? You scored the odd goal in the 89th minute when you get thrown on. But I mean, he wasn't even in the team tonight. I don't know if he's out, but he wasn't even in the semi-final tonight.
He was pushing for a move in the summer though, John.
Yeah, he was pushing for a move in the summer. And obviously, as we know, allegedly, we had the chance to get him. But, the reason why we never, or the reason why Moyes wasn't keen, we'll never know. But there's got to be something he's not sure about. It'd be interesting to know what that ever was, but we never will, as I say. But look, I like Origi. He would be ready-made in so much as he knows the league. He would probably be up to scratch and up to speed early doors. Of course he would. but I'm not sure we get him there. I really not. I mean, I know you think that we won't get him until maybe the AFCON's over.
I think towards the end of the window, because look, his contract's up in 2022. If they don't sell him, they're going to lose him for nothing. It's as simple as that. So probably towards the tail end of this window, I think you'll see Divock Origi move, because he's not signing a new contract. They've tried to. They've offered him a new contract because he's a good impact player. He's a good backup player. He's useful to them. So yeah, I think there's a good chance. I'm not saying that we will sign him. Like we know, we've got Newcastle that are.
Well, obviously, what you got to remember is when he's out of contract in the summer, he'll go and get a huge signing on fee, won't he?
Yeah.
He will do. He will do. But I wonder how many takers there will be. I mean, we've got, aren't we in with his agent? Ain't he with, what's his name? Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's true.
Slaughterhouse, not Slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse. He loves Liverpool.
Yeah. So would you take him, John? Would you be happy with Origi as a forward option?
Yeah, I would be happy. Look, we'd be happy with almost any striker, wouldn't we? Right? Because if even Antonio's calling for it, it shows that it's what we need as a squad. However, as people are starting to come back, we'll probably talk about it more in a minute. But as people are starting to slowly come back from injury, maybe our priorities are changing again.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? Like we're not as in such a, the left back situation.
I think we need a striker. We definitely need to get a striker in. Maybe he might be more comfortable with centre back and left back now. But my God, we need a backup for Antonio.
Yeah, of course we do. But then you look. Let's play devil's advocate. You could have David Moyes in your living room and say, "Dave, we need a striker because we need goals," and he could say to you, "Yeah, but in 2021." We had 73 goals, the third best in the Premier League. So as much as we know we need that, there's always an argument to say, well, the goals are being spread around. Someone's scoring them.
They are being spread around, but don't forget, Antonio's quite impressive stats this year. I haven't got them to share, but it's almost as many assists as it is goals. Antonio is important to the way that we play. He's a provider as well. And the work that he does, he's a battering ram. He holds the ball up. So a lot of the goals that our other forward players get, they originate from Antonio's forward play. You need someone like him. And I know that Bowen's filled in well. He's done very well when he's played centre forward. But I don't know. I think for me, we have to get a striker in this window.
I agree. I agree. We do. We can't rely on. Listen, this is the longest time Antonio's gone without getting injured. It's going to come at some point, isn't it? He's playing all these games, and now he's playing internationals as well. I know he's got a new regime and everything, but the odds are we can't go a whole season playing with just one striker up front. Question here from Russ, where he says, wasn't Salthouse in the director's box yesterday? Well, you should know that, Russ. You need to tell us. Was he?
Yeah, was he, Russ? While you was eating your prawn sandwiches? The only thing is, I've always been quite angry, because it's difficult with Antonio, right? I'm not going on about the same old crap. Top Premier League goal scorer ever in our history. That may seem nothing, but that's a big achievement, right? From somebody who came from Wildstone or wherever he started his career, non-league, right? And I've been, the last couple of years, I've been quite angry at the way that I personally think he's been sacrificed. He's physical, he's been hung out to dry in so much as just run yourself into the ground, son. Don't worry about your own thing. Just carry on. And I think it's quite a shame. And now we've seen this season, when he went through that barren spell, you had a few people questioning him. And it's a shame because of the fans knowing how desperate we need a striker, and because of whether it's Moyes, whether it's the board, I don't know, since we sold your favourite player, Nick, not getting no one in, I feel like we've sort of abused Antonio in some ways.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think with Antonio, if you look at the criticism on social media, you've got some people, right, that will criticise him for running and not staying central and pulling wide and not being a striker. Then you'll have other people that are criticising him for not running around like a headless chicken anymore. Now, I'm not being funny, right? The most effective strikers, if you're an actual striker, they pick their moments, they drift around, they find space, and then they'll burst into action. That is what effective strikers do. They don't run around like headless chickens all game. And I think that is a bit of I don't think it's just a West Ham thing, but there are some supporters out there that are not happy unless they feel like they're getting their pound of flesh from a player. and they only see that if they just see him running around and round and round, it drives me mad.
It's people's frustration with the club not buying a striker. They take it out on Antonio because they want to let everyone know that we know he's not a proper striker, which we all know. Right?
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
it's people's frustration with the board and manager, maybe, and the Newman, whatever his name is, for not buying a striker. Antonio is the visual anger that they direct their anger at, basically.
Yeah.
That's what
I mean, this bothers me. I didn't see this press conference in the post-match interview, but Moyes wants another Antonio type striker. In his post-match interview yesterday, he said he's been looking for one for the last 2 years. I mean, there's only one that I can think of that, and that's Traore, and that's another project because there is no one else. There is no one else like Antonio.
He's a winger, not a striker. So
there is no one else like Antonio.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could say that Arthur Cabral, who we reviewed last week, he's got similar physical attributes. You could say that Gabriel Barbosa has got similar physical attributes as well. It depends exactly what attributes he's looking for, because he's not going to get exactly the same set, is he? And what does he want? Is it work rate, physicality, running? What is it that he actually wants? Did you notice that? Sorry, I've lost the comment now. But the one where Rio Ferdinand has told Arsenal to buy Haller. Well, Rio Ferdinand also recommended Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be the manager at Man United as well, didn't he? So,
yeah, I know. But Gary, we need to get over that. I don't hate Haller. I know he's moved on. I think what West Ham fans have got to do is get over the fact that he really weren't shit. He wasn't shit.
No one called him shit. So
I think we just need to accept that. Basically, he didn't fit. How many good strikers have we killed over there? I mean, Hernandez came to us, looked shit. We've killed so many good strikers over the years.
I think Nigel hit the nail on the head. He said we are the graveyard of strikers, right? There's nothing. Yeah. You just got to move on to the next one and hope that the next one is a success, right? Yeah. There's nothing really else you can say about it. Yeah, we do need a Benteke. Well, yeah, he could play that role. To be fair, he could play that role.
Yeah,
but he does have a terrible goal scoring record. Barbosa is hungry. A wild card like that, because looking back at Barbosa, we had him down at 20 to 25 million. Again, it's a risk because he's only really played in South America.
It is a risk. And my worry is we should be going out and buying players, because we're getting a striker in that is going to take the weight off of Antonio's shoulders, and he's going to be there to cover for him if and when he gets injured, because we want to sustain and be successful this season and not drop off in the league, not drop off in the Europa, and achieve everything. Now, if you go out and you get a project and you get a backup player and you might get a Ben Brereton Diaz come in, you might get an Arthur Cabral come in, and they might hit the ground running. They might, but it's unlikely. When you look at Vlasic, when he's come in, there's been that bedding in period, which you often get with these players from overseas, and playing as a lone centre forward, that's something different altogether. I think what we shouldn't be doing that. We should be going out, spending a bit of money, and bringing in somebody who is more guaranteed to hit the ground running, because they are performing at a similar level elsewhere, scoring goals, bit more proven. And like I say, I think let me just throw this up, Gary, quickly. I've done a little video on this, and like I say, ignore basically what my thought is. In your striker categories, you've got elite players who we're not in for. You've got your top level, high value players, people like Vlahovic, who's linked with like an 80 million move to Arsenal and Tottenham and teams like that. Lewin, we could never get because he'd be similar money. Haller, I've just put in there to provoke people. That we could never get players like that. But then you've got the C players that we've just spoken about. Now these players, like Gabigol, Ben Brereton Diaz, Cabral. Yeah, I think that these players are they're a risk in our current situation to get a player in now, because we're effectively buying a first team player here. We're buying someone that's going to come in and play and improve us and stuff like that. And I think not that I'd be disappointed if we got one of those players. I wouldn't, but I'd be concerned. And I think the market that we should be shopping in is in that central is in the Jonathan David, in Divock Origi and Patrick Schick, and this one of these other players that we're going to do, Youssef En-Nesyri, who's a player that Moyes has been a bit obsessed with for a few years. He really likes him. So players in that range, and they're not unachievable. They're players that they're players that would come to us if we paid the money. We proved at the time when we bought Sebastian Haller that little old West Ham can go out in a transfer market and we can go and sign a top player if you want to pay the money. We were less attractive back then as well. We can get these players, but they cost a little bit more. So I think that's the type of market we should be looking at. It is B for me.
I agree. I agree with you. The only thing is that, and we could possibly do that now. Go for them C type players because this is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Cresswell's come back. Zuma is allegedly very close to return. So maybe now Moyes can think, I don't need defensive cover. Maybe now he can put all his eggs in one basket and use
go for the striker.
Yes, and maybe that's what
he's been doing.
Maybe
I'll tell you what. It's an interesting point from Chris here because, and I want you to consider this, Nick. Right, and that is, it'd be interesting to see how Haller would fit in our team now because he played under Pellegrini and then under Moyes as kind of a lone striker up front, and he had no players playing off him or around him.
This from day one. The team, you know how we play now. This is basically how he used to play for Frankfurt. He was in a front three, and that's basically how we're playing. And I said at the start when I think Haller and West Ham were a victim of circumstance. I think he's, it's like, for some people when you're fed up with a job, it's gone to shit. I've had enough of it. I've got to get out of here. I think that's where Haller was. And I think if Moyes was going out in the summer now and buying Haller, not now he's at Ajax, but if we was buying the Haller from Frankfurt now, it would have been a very, very different story. It really would have been. He is a talented player. It's obvious that he is, but it just wasn't meant to be. And Moyes is probably under a little bit of pressure himself now because Haller's gone out and he's done so well. He's got to make sure he gets this right.
I agree, and I think this Hlozek would be a kind of around a Brereton Diaz kind of, like Nick said, a Category C player who we could bring in and hopefully would come good. But I think we need to buy someone more in Category B who we pretty much know is going to be. We're pretty guaranteed of their quality, and they're very likely to succeed.
Yeah,
even though we disproved
to be honest with you, I like Schick. I like the look of Schick a lot.
I do. Yeah,
I really like him. I like him. He would be my choice.
And he's checked well.
He's a bit Harry Kane like, if I'm honest. He's very clinical in front of goal. And he dribbles. He don't dribble. So he's better in that sense. He dribbles in the right way.
I'm sure Kretinsky has already spoken to his parents and offered him a palatial home in the Czech Republic for him to come to West Ham, little old West Ham. So, Nick, why don't you take us on now? Let's go through a few comments and then you take us on to En-Nesyri.
Okay. No worries.
Let's have a look, see what's here. We get four top signings. Yeah, I think we would if we got some top signings, 3 or 4 top signings. Yeah, I think we'd run it close, that top 4. I
genuinely don't think we're going to go out and get 4 signings now.
No, I don't think so.
Because Cresswell's back and Zuma's ahead of schedule. I think we'll be lucky to get 2.
Yeah.
And
I mean what you've said there, John, is really exciting, and I hadn't thought about it like that. If he's been holding off because if he doesn't have to go out and spend money on a centre back and a left back, that'd be amazing.
Because we can all sit here guessing all day long, but obviously Moyes is in constant conversation with his doctors and physios and all that. They're telling him they're giving him updates daily. So he's going to be thinking, I need a left back, and then he speaks to the physio and went, he should be back next week. Zuma's 4 or 5 weeks ahead of schedule. It might make him think, hang on a minute, we could go out and get what we need, which is this top striker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Nick, take us on to En-Nesyri. Let's have a look.
Right, okay. Well, Yusuf En-Nesyri is a player that we've been linked with for a few windows now. Most people probably know quite a lot about him. He's a player that Moyes has tried to sign twice. He's a very good player, and he's a hard-working player. He kind of gets about. He's quite quick. He's very clinical. He's had his injury problems this year, which is he's tailed off a little bit because when we went in for him last year, he'd had a great season. He played 38 games, scored 18 goals, and he was a bit of a star. He was a bit of a star of La Liga for Sevilla. And this season, I think when we approached him, he didn't. It was his agent, wasn't it? His agent said, "Look, he's happy in Sevilla." But what's happened now is this season he's struggled a little bit for game time. He's not had severe injuries, but he's been out of the team. But he's back now. He's played 8 games, scored 3 goals, got an assist. So that's four in eight, if you like. And he's a very good player. And like I say, because he's not in the team quite as much now, and West Ham are obviously doing very well. If Moyes being persistent, that can only kind of flatter him. If Moyes is going back in for him again, because it ain't like he's not saying that he don't want to play for us. I think he likes Sevilla. I think that's where he is. But I'm pretty certain that, like I say, he's not getting as much game time now as what he was before. So I don't think apparently he's not quite as happy as he was. You know, if things can change, can't they, in 6 months?
Yeah.
And he is a good player. He's like I say, he's Moroccan. He's a big player. He's quick. He's got a lot. He's a really good player. I'd be really excited if we got him. He's a very good player. I mean, if you go back in time, the only thing is, he's not really been a consistently high goal scorer. So in his first season at Sevilla, I'll just do the last 3 years. In his first season at Sevilla, he played 18 games, so he was a bit part player, and he scored 4 goals. He got his first sort of full run at the first team in 2021, played 38 games, scored 18 goals, as I've just said. And in this season, it's been disrupted. So he's a good player, and I think he wouldn't be cheap. He would be around about the £35 million mark, 40 million. And I think I would trust that if Moyes was to go out and spend that type of money, that he's probably some player.
Yeah. No, you're right. And listen, if we're going to get a proven striker, that's how much money you've genuinely got to spend. Right? Yeah. Otherwise, you're spending half of that, and you're taking a risk on someone, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think there are legs in that one as well. Like I say, he's
the only thing I'd say is, like you said, Moyes has been linked with him for a long time now.
Yeah.
It seems like maybe that ship sailed. I think maybe to some degree.
But it hasn't sailed because we haven't moved on. It only sails if you go for a player and then you move on.
Yeah.
We're still in the same situation.
From that aspect,
yeah. So from that aspect, you know, he's either going to find it irritating or flattering that David Moyes, a West Ham team in the Premier League that are doing really, really well. Moyes is very selective. He ain't just gone out and knee jerks and gone out and got anyone else. You know what I mean? There probably is a conversation to be had there. So he's a very good player. So we've got a couple of comments here. You've got Trev Tube, no doubt in my mind, En-Nesyri is a class act. Only slight concern is Harry would react to Premier League centre-back smashing him up every week. I think he'd be all right. I think he's quite physical himself, to be honest. But you're right, there would be that. There's always that bedding in period. But I think it's a bit different. I think it's a bit different for centre forwards because typically they're big lads and they're quite physical themselves. You know, little Vlasic and Fornals when they came in, they needed to bulk up a bit, didn't they? I think, You know, what's this? We get that money back if we win. Yeah, well, there you go. There you go.
What money? What are you saying?
The money for En-Nesyri. If we spend 35 million, if you're getting that top 4.
Oh, yeah.
It pays for itself. Exactly. That's another way of looking at it as well, you know. Yeah. And like I say, I think we're all agreed that En-Nesyri is a Category B player, isn't he? He's in our market. He is a player that would, on paper, come in and improve us.
Yeah. I think he definitely would. I'd love it if we signed him. Gets my vote.
Yep. Okay, Gary, do you want to move on to your
Yes. This is going to be the star turn, right? This is
last one, people. Last one.
Hugo Ekitike to bring our transfer session to a close. So look, 19 years old, plays for Reims in France. A right-footed striker who also plays on the left wing. African descent from Cameroon. Played for France at under 20 level. He joined Reims in 2013. He was at his previous club that I can't pronounce, Commontril, from 2008, age 6. So he's been, in the football system for a long, long time. He spent part of last season on loan to Danish Superliga club, Vejle Boldklub. So we're literally talking about a player who's played half a season last year in Reims B team, went on loan and then played 17 times this year for Reims A team or their normal team. So he's played 17 times this year, so almost ever present, scored 8 goals with 4 assists. top scoring. It's a bit of a meaningless stat, this, but it makes him the top scoring teenager in Europe's top 5 leagues. He's big, he's tall, he's fast, he's good on the floor, seems to like playing wide, and as well as centrally. He's about 6'3". Still has some filling out to do. He's a bit of a beanpole. He's strong defensively, holds the ball up well, good passer, great dribbler, good finisher. He's very weak from a discipline perspective. And his offside awareness is weak as well. So those flags are going to be going up all the time, and it's going to drive us mad. He's been sent off once this season already, and has got a couple of yellow cards as well. He gets fouled a lot and likes to foul a lot as well. Newcastle apparently want him, but then again, Newcastle want every player we're interested in. Like I said earlier,
they can have him.
At all. Now, listen, you know, if I summarise what I say, he's played 17 times this season for Reams's first team. So this would be a gamble. It would be a gamble. But on the face of it, he looks to have a lot of talent. He looks to have the right attributes. His mate told the press that Hugo admires Mbappe and wants to be like him. But then I want to sing like George Michael. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, does it? He's, you know...
It'd be expensive for a player with... Because he's highly rated. For a player with little to no experience, because it could be a one season wonder.
The price they're putting on his head is 30 million quid.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
30 million.
Yeah,
I can't believe anyone will pay that.
But Newcastle are the only team that are going to pay.
The trouble now is January is already a bad time to buy. It's already inflated.
Yeah.
Now you've got Newcastle involved. Every time Newcastle are linked, that selling club think, oh, they've got loads of money. Let's up it even more. And that's what's going to start happening.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Absolutely right.
There's no way he's worth £30 million. That is ridiculous.
Well, to me, I mean, he's a youngster who's played a handful of games and scored some goals and had some assists.
Yeah, but do you know what? Do you know where this comes from though? Because of the, I don't look. I'll be honest with you. I've not seen him. Right, I haven't. And Mbappe I think he had one good season and then got transferred for fucking stupid money, didn't he? I think it was about 150, 200 million, something like that, because he was really young at the time. He was about 18, wasn't he? When he 18, when that transfer went through. So maybe he is a special talent, and maybe he is worth that money. But I don't think. No, I certainly wouldn't. Moyes won't. I don't think Moyes will take that risk on a young player like that.
Not a hope in hell.
No.
Maybe get him on loan. Get him on loan with a view to buy. Give him a try. But again, he's totally unproven. So is it Moyes' style to put unproven players in the first team? I mean, not really.
No, that's it. And do you know what? I think another thing as well. Someone said here, look, Newcastle they're basically they are, because while Newcastle are in the market for a player, if they're in the market for a striker, then obviously the price of that striker is going to go up, and that's going to go for everyone. So maybe if Newcastle, let's just hope they get their business done nice and early in the next week or so, and then we can go. You know,
it's probably the agent talking to the press and saying, "Oh, Newcastle are interested," and then suddenly the press go, "Oh, if Newcastle are interested, he must be worth about 30 million."
Yeah,
you know, it's all bullshit, all of it.
Look, if he's barely less expensive than En-Nesyri, he can stay in France or go wherever the hell else. En-Nesyri is a safer bet. Yeah, he is. He is. So,
I completely agree.
Okay, well, Gary, do you want to close the transfer centre a bit?
Yeah. So look, we're just going to quickly do the transfer tracker now. So once again, I'm going to struggle with sharing the right screen. So bear with me. We're just going to see where we are. We're going to rate those ones that we've right. Share screen. Come on. This one. Share. There we go. Can you see it?
There we go. Much quicker today, Gary. Much
quicker. Well done, Gal.
I know, I'm good, aren't I? Right, okay. So look,
sit through these quick. Go on, Gary.
Yeah, Josh Doig, who looks like, you know, I'd rate him a 5 probably out of 10. How likely? I'd say that's a 5 as well. Lloyd Kelly, I'd rate him. What do you reckon? Give him
I'd go a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'll probably go 7 for likelihood, because Bournemouth, they're for promotion, so it'd be mad for him at the moment, to be honest.
I agree. Ekitike rating. I mean, look, I'll give him a 4. How likely is it? I think -7.
The good thing about him, though, he's got a song already for his name, isn't he?
UK Ekitike.
Hugo Ekitike. Hugo Ekitike.
That's it. Yeah.
Right. So
Right.
we
Go on, John.
Aaron Hickey over in Bologna.
Yeah, I think he looks very good. I'd say
does.
7. I'd say 8. He looks
Yeah,
good.
go 8. I like him. I like.
Yeah.
The likelihood of getting him there in January, probably a 6. We could look at getting him in the summer, though.
Yeah.
But Badiashile.
Badass. We just called him Benoit Badass.
Badass.
To be honest with you, rating wise, I'm not a massive. I don't know, 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he looks anything special. Yeah.
So
I don't think we'll go for him. I think he's out of the question.
Sosa.
So Masuaku Mark II. I'd go 1 and 1 from what I've just. Yeah. Review that was.
Diallo.
Right, Diallo is one that excites me. I think because he's as Russ said earlier on, he's not played every game. You know, they've got a massive squad. I think alone would be a possibility. So for him, I think an 8 on a rating, and I'd go probably 7 on a loan. I think if Moyes could get a loan for a player like that, it'd be crazy not to do it, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Youssef En-Nesyri, I'm going to go 9, but likelihood 6 because he's knocked us back twice before.
Origi.
This is high, I think.
I think the likelihood's high.
Yeah.
Probably an 8. But as Nick said, maybe when them two are back from AFCON, Mane and Salah.
How do we rate him? I don't
know. I'd probably say 7. But that's based on just substitute appearances, which is what most of his career is.
I mean, the good thing is, look, with Origi, you could play him the way that we play. He could play central, right, or left, because that's generally what he does. He kind of plays anywhere across the front. He is quite a versatile attacker, and he scores important goals. You know, for him,
he don't play enough football though, does he? He's 26.
Yeah. No.
He should be playing first team regular now.
So it brings us to the end of the transfer centre. So far in between episode 1 and 2, we've reviewed 17 players.
Jesus.
Like we said, we're never going to review 2 players, one player twice. So
I'll tell you what, if we sign one of those players that we've reviewed, I'll be happy.
We're going to take credit for it. We're going to say we called it. Yeah.
We are. We're going to tweet it.
So we'll end up at the end of the month where we do about 4 of these. We end up at the end of the month with about 40 players. One of those players comes in.
I'm just texting Moyes. Hang on.
Yeah, one of those players comes in. We're taking credit for it. Oh, the Claret and Booze called it. Right. So, Nick, what are we doing next?
Right, we're going to move into the Leeds preview, the game at the weekend. Now, like I say, we don't really need to talk about Leeds too much because we saw everything they had to offer.
Well, they've got some players coming back, Nick. So it's a little bit.
Yeah, I know they got some players coming back, but I mean, but I think Rafinha, he was when he came on in the second half. I don't think he was much cop, to be honest. I think is Phillips due back?
No.
Yes, he's really important to them. Like I say, we can't get carried away because you can't in any of these games. You know, they're a Premier League team, and they do play. I think they're a damn sight better than Norwich.
For me, mate, as yesterday's game, is points on the board. I don't care about the way we play. I don't care if we scrape it 1-0. I'll be happy. Get points on the board. That's what we need.
I think they suit us more, Leeds, because they will come out and attack us.
Yeah.
You know they will. They only play one way. They've got 10 key injuries. You know they're decimated, absolutely decimated. So it's a really good time to play them. Do kind of feel for them a bit because they've struggled this year and they really shouldn't have struggled that much given the team that they've got. You know, and even though I didn't like Leeds in the old days, I don't mind them now. I think they're all right. It was, you know, we took them apart last week in the FA Cup, and he did put as strong a team out as he could, and so I assume that's going to be a very similar team to the one we play on Sunday. and we're probably going to have a very similar team out as well. I don't know if Souček will be back from COVID, but we'll have a very similar team out, I would imagine.
I think, I'd imagine he'd start exactly the team he started last night, apart unless there's injuries or anything else. You know
Or
what I mean?
any more COVID.
But if Souček's COVID, he can't be back, can he, or not? He must.
I don't know what the thing is now, whether it's 5 days or 7 days, or whether he's
5 days
suffering.
now.
Well, it's 5 days. You have to test negative on the 6th and 7th day.
I think on the 5th day you have to have a party, don't you, or something? I can't remember.
Don't go all political. Don't go all political.
He had to get that in, didn't he?
Just saying. Just saying.
Okay. Well, look. Let's do a lineup. We ain't really got to talk about them too much. Like I say, we only played them a few days ago. So let's share the screen. 1 minute. It should be pretty.
One of my favourite things to do, the lineup predictor. I like the lineup predictor.
Yeah, but the only thing is with the lineup predictor, because we've got such a small squad, there's not much change.
I know, but it's a practical thing to do. It's fun, isn't it? It's something you can see and almost touch.
But can you imagine if we're still doing this YouTube channel next season? If we've got all these players in like Schlick and all these big names. Imagine the excitement of Nick's little face doing this.
I know. It would be nice to not be able to pick the starting 11 every week. So do you know what I mean? Because at the moment, it does kind of pick itself. They said yesterday, even with our injuries, we've made the least changes to our starting 11 of any other Premier League team.
Yeah.
And Nick, why have our youth team players got faces on the same scale as Kroll?
I don't know. Is the answer to that? Right. Who's going in goal? Is Fab's going in goal? Okay. Right. And there's only one man to go at left back. He's back.
Aaron Cresswell.
Hey. Right. Which of our 2 available centre backs are going to play tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll play them.
Both of them.
Yeah. Should we play them? Yeah.
All 2 of them.
All 2 of them. Right now, Vladimir Soufal or Ryan Fredericks?
Soufal.
Okay. Right
this
now,
is genuinely picking itself.
This is going to pick itself. I don't even know why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Right, Declan Rice. I'm going to go Fornells. I'm going to go Landini.
Yeah. What do you think up front? Who are you putting up front? Yeah. What about striker?
That's true. Who can we play up front?
Who do we put up front?
That's hard, isn't it? Right, on the left wing, are we playing Vlasic? Are we going to give someone else a go? How about Yarmolenko or Masuaku?
Don't be so stupid. Put Vlasic in. He's doing well.
So that's it. That was really hard. Hard.
Well, it kind of defeats the object of doing this team selector, doesn't it? But it was. Let's do the Premier League predictor.
We should just call it the team, not predictor, just the team.
Yeah. No. Well, look, it will get more interesting once players start returning from injury. But look, it's going to be the same. He's got no reason to change it unless he's got injuries or whatever else that we don't know about. I don't know why you would change anything from that lineup. To be honest, like I say, the only one who I could see being rested and put on the bench if there's any concerns over his fitness is Antonio, and with Bowen shifted. Like Antonio on the bench to give him a rest because he's had in the last 2 games now he's picked up what looks like a few knocks.
I know you say that he's got no reason to change it, but if Souček is fit, he comes straight back in. If he's over COVID, he comes straight back in.
He's got COVID. They're a 14-day isolation period for Souček.
Special 21-day isolation.
21 days. Yeah.
You could always play him up front.
Yeah,
you could do.
So you got a Premier League predictor. Let's do that.
No. Go on. Do your match predictions first. Do your match predictions.
Right. Okay. So
call a score.
Well, go on. You go first, John. I've got to contemplate.
I'm just going for a comfortable 2-0, as was the cup game. I don't see them as a threat really. They got no strikers of note. Obviously, Rafinha is the most dangerous one available at the minute. Although someone said Bamford might be back, I'm not sure.
Oh, that'd be bad. To be honest,
how true that is, but I can't even listen to that guy. His voice does me head in. Sorry, I know it sounds a little bit unsnobbish. He's so posh. He shouldn't be a footballer. Anyway, I think 2-0 to us. I think comfortable 2-0 to us, yeah.
Give us your predictions on the chat. So Glenn's gone for 3-0. So you've gone for 2-0, John, yeah?
Yeah, I've gone 2-0, mate. I think it'd be comfortable.
I'm gonna go 3-1. I've got a feeling we're gonna concede against them.
Well, we've had 2 clean sheets in a row, old Dawson and Diop.
I know.
This is true. This is true.
I just feel like it's about time we conceded a goal, so I'm going 3-1. What are you going, Nick?
I'm going to go 4-2.
4-2.
Going 4-2. I think it's going
Put
to
some
be.
money on that.
I think we're going to go a goal down in this one, and then we're going to come out fighting because we're always good when our backs are against the wall.
Jones copying me. She's gone 3-1. Alan has gone 3-0. But Bamford hasn't played for months. That's very true. It's very true.
No, he did. He did play. He came back from injury, scored on his return, then got injured again. So he was rusty, but he still scored.
Yeah. Right, so let me put my glasses on because I can't bloody see this. It's far too small.
Right, okay. Brighton and Hove Albion versus Crystal Palace. John.
Oh, that's a derby, isn't it? I never know how that's a bloody derby, but anyway.
Eagles, Seagulls.
I'm gonna say 2-2. Desmond.
I got told, we looked into this the other week. Nigel said something, didn't he, about what it was all about? It's like, and someone said it's an M4 derby. No, not M3 derby. Yeah.
I think it all came from. Didn't it come from a match? It was it's a really strange one.
Yeah.
Something happened in a game in history, and they've hated each other ever since. Right. So Gary, Manchester City. Well, that's a bastard game. City versus Chelsea.
Oh.
I'll go 2-1 City on that one.
Okay. Right. How many Norwich going to get beat when they play at home to Everton? Do you reckon?
I think they'll win.
I think, yeah.
I'm kidding. You're having a laugh, aren't you?
Everton are poor.
I'll tell you what. I'd go. Who's calling this? Whose go is it?
It'd be me. Go on, but no, you go, Gal. Go on. You call it. Go on.
I'm gonna go 1-0 on that one.
That's no way.
Mate,
way.
Listen, Nick, he's got the fans against him. They're not playing well.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he's in trouble.
Yeah. I think Cuffley Stars could beat Norwich City at the moment. Right. Burnley versus Leicester. John?
Burnley versus Leicester. Oh, that sounds exciting. I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester.
2-1.
Now they've sold Chris Wood, the dangerous striker, to Newcastle.
Yeah, true.
I can't see Burnley getting many goals.
No, that's it. Did you say 2-1 to Leicester?
Yeah.
Shit, got that wrong. Hang on.
That's 1-2, Nick. 1-2.
If you listened to me, Nick, instead of just being a control freak and not letting me speak ever.
You know what I mean, John? You know what I mean? That's what he does. That's what he does. He dominates, doesn't he? He dominates.
Right, okay. Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Southampton.
I'm going to go 2-0 on that one.
I agree with that. Although Southampton did have a good win the other day, didn't they?
Yeah, but Wolves are playing well again, so it's
They
all
spanked Brentford, didn't they?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, what was the score in that game?
4-1.
Bloody hell.
Brentford.
Is a brilliant game. Newcastle Watford.
Oh,
right, this one here, because I said Newcastle's next 3 games and Watford is going to determine whether or not they stay up. It really is.
I'll tell you what, since we thumped Watford have started improving again.
Yeah, I really want Watford to win.
This is the proverbial 6-pointer, isn't it?
I'm gonna go 1-2 on that one.
Go on, John. What do you reckon?
I'm going to say Newcastle are going to nick it 1-0. Chris Wood's going to score.
Boo.
Written in the stars.
I hope Watford win, but I think Newcastle.
Yeah, no, I hope. I just think Newcastle will win.
Well, it is a big one. I'm going to call this one Aston Villa versus Man United. I think that's going to be 2-1 Villa.
They're doing well.
Right.
I think Man U are still pony, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right, Liverpool versus Brentford. Again, that's a bit of a banana skin for Liverpool potentially.
Is that me?
If Brentford get the game plan right.
Is that me?
Yeah, go on, Gal.
Yeah, 3-1.
That Brentford are terrible, Nick.
Yeah.
Okay, not when I play us, they're not. Right. West. Okay, what score are we going for? Shall I just go 3-1 for Leeds?
Yeah, pick my score. 3-1. Go on.
Okay, and then John, I'm going to give you the derby, the dog shit derby.
That's going to be that is going to be 1-1 draw, which will suit us down to the ground.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's calculate
that new league, Nick.
Currently, before I calculate the table, we are 2 points clear of Arsenal, and we are 5 points clear of Spurs.
Spurs have 3 games in hand.
Yeah, better to have points on the board, mate.
Exactly. Exactly.
after the weekend, what happens then, Nick?
Right after the weekend. So you've got West Ham are on 40 points. We are officially clear of relegation. We've done it once we beat
Yes.
Leeds at the weekend.
Come on, you
After
Irons.
22 games. 22 games. Arsenal are on 36 points. We're 4 points clear of them. And Tottenham, they start their decline down the table. They're on 34 points, and they're only sort of 3 points in front of Man United and Wolves. So yeah, they'll be down in 8th place in about 5 games, 10 games time, and Conte's going to be on the chopping block, isn't he?
Yeah,
when it good listening to that, listening to the Talk Sport.
It was hilarious.
Brilliant.
It was hilarious. I was listening to that on the way home last night, and honestly, these people that were phoning in, this particular you shared the clip earlier, John. This woman phoned in. She said, "That Conte, he's useless. He's deluded. He was. It's like
She called him a clown.
yeah, call him a clown. Yeah. Oh dear. It was good to listen to. So that's it. I think we've come to the end, haven't we?
We have. I think we have come to the end. I think that's. I think that's around about it. A nice short one tonight. So as it is a Thursday night.
Yeah. Everyone can go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, go on, Gal.
Thank you. So thanks to all of you for sticking with us and watching on this lovely Thursday night, and all of you who have interacted in the chat. If you haven't done so, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon. I hope you've enjoyed this very rare Thursday night booze up. We'll be back on Friday, a normal slot next week, and we will be back sooner than that on probably Sunday with an early Sunday night hangover. We're thinking of around 7:30 maybe.
Going to be reviewing the Leeds game on that.
Yeah, we'll be looking at the Leeds game. Hopefully reviewing another win, and then we'll prepare ourselves for a whole week without football. We've got no weekday football this week. It's ridiculous. God. So there we are. We're done. Until next time. See you soon, and come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.